What's going on, guys? Cordy here, and welcome back to another Paragon video. Today's video, we're going to be going over IGGY and SCORCH. Right now, he's currently one of my favorite casters just because he's brand new. He feels really good. I think he's pretty strong. There's mixed perception on IGGY and SCORCH. I see a lot in the comments and in like my Twitch chat. Either people think he's overpowered, he needs to be tuned down, or they think he's underwhelming and then they need to buff him. I personally think he's really good. He might be like a really top caster. He has a lot of lane pressure, but I'm going to go over the builds really quick with you guys. All right, so let's go over the skills. So IGGY and SCORCH, again, he's a caster. I build him damage. I know that some people can play him in the solo lane. Even the recommended in game tells you to build like more hybrid with like some damage or some tank. This video is going to be mainly just him being a caster. He's a caster. He's going to be in the mid lane. I think he does a really great damage. So this video is going to be more on that. We're not going to do any kind of solo builds. First ability, another friend. So this is your turrets. This is like the main thing around IGGY. They all his kit kind of revolves around the turrets. This ability allows you to toss out up to 4 turrets, and they will shoot fireballs at whoever you attack. So if you're hitting the minions, it'll attack the minions. If you do a basic attack on the enemy laner, the turrets will prioritize them. Once you put a couple of points in this, it's going to last a lot longer. When you level it up, you're going to do more damage. They're going to be more tankier. The second ability is going to be the the dynamic duo. This is just a passive. Basically what this is going to do is just give you extra damage whenever you do damage with your turrets, or if you do damage with your basic attack. Think of this as a spirit teardrop. If you're familiar with how a teardrop works, whenever you do damage, you do a little bit extra damage over the top. That's what he has a built-in teardrop pretty much. And then IGGY's left click is just a pretty standard basic attack. It's going to do physical damage, so nothing special there. Okay, so the right click is going to be Flaming Oil Canister. This ability is just an AoE ability that you toss out, and it does damage, and it also decreases the enemy's magical defense. This is going to tick over time. This is another good ability to help you clear the wave. And then IGGY's ultimate, Firework Festival. This is a really great ability. All the turns that you have active, or the turns that you toss out while this ability is active, it's going to have high increased attack speed. It's going to have high increased attack speed, and it's also going to slow the enemy down as well. So all the abilities, they kind of work well with his turret. With IGGY, early game, he's a little bit tough to get going because your turrets do take damage a lot. But once you start putting points into your turrets, they're gonna get more tankier. You can have more outs, and by that time you should have some cooldowns as well, so you can spam a little bit more. Once you get like 3 levels into your turret and you have your other abilities leveled up, you're gonna have a lot of lane pressure in the mid lane. Since I've been playing IGGY, I have not lost. If I'm not going against another IGGY, I've always won lane pressure. It's really easy to get lane pressure. It's very dominant in the laning phase. The only negative thing about IGGY is you don't have an escape. There's no real way for you to get out of a team fight, or if you get ganked, the only thing you can do is you got to stand your ground. You have your turrets out. Hopefully you have your turrets out. You toss the Molotov like at your feet if the jungler is going to gank on you. You just you have to fight your way out of it. There's no really good escape for IGGY. Okay, let's get into the leveling order for IGGY. So at level 1, what I'm going to do is I'm going to prioritize my turret ability. The right click does a lot of damage. It's great damage. The only downfall is it has a really high cooldown. You can get multiple turns out before your right click comes back up. So what I will do is I'll start my turret and start putting them down, try to get pressure continuously, putting your turrets away from the wave. That way the enemy mid doesn't use their ability to clear the wave and you. They have to choose where they're going to fight. They're going to fight you, or they're going to fight the turret, or they're going to fight the minions themselves. After I get this, my second ability is going to go into my right click. This is going to help you get more damage out. You'll toss the canister out the wave just to get a little bit more damage out to help you clearing a little bit quicker. And then third ability is going to be my passive, just to get a little bit of damage and get ability in there. The passive, you're not going to level up. It's just there to get 1 point in there, just to do a little bit of damage. And then from there, I'm going to prioritize the Q ability, the right click, the ultimate whenever I can. And then from there, we're going to level up the passive. Passive is going to be last. Prioritize the Q, the right click, and your ultimate whenever you can. The ultimate at base level, the ult is 60 seconds. When you put 2 levels into it, they cool down by 10 seconds. So at max rank, it's 40 seconds, not including any of your cooldowns that you're going to be building. Late game, you're pretty much every little engagement, you're going to be spamming your abilities. You're going to be spamming your ultimate when you're clearing a big objective, the prime, the spirit. You'll just go ahead and spam your ult because you're going to have a really low cooldown on that ultimate. You could probably get it to like 32 seconds or something crazy. Okay, so this is the leveling order. Let's go into the build, how I build IGGY. Okay, so as far as the builds go, so for your starter set, you're going to get the mage stone, the blue stone. You're going to get the rechargeable health potion. Right now, they changed it to where you don't need to buy wards anymore. It's going to be in your inventory, so you don't have to spend money buying a ward. You can go to just get the money that you would and buy this. That way you can have a health potion every time you back. You get potions. So ideally, the main core build is going to be this right here. So Witch's Shoe gives you 90 power, 10 CDR, going to get more damage on your abilities. This is just kind of a really good item here. If you notice, I don't have Teardrop. Teardrop's a really great item. But unfortunately with Iggy, it's only going to proc on one ability. So because you have a passive, you have a turret, you have your ult that does more damage on your turrets, more attacks. None of those proc. The only ability that's going to proc the Teardrop is going to be the right click. So you don't need to buy Teardrop with Iggy. He also already has kind of a built-in Teardrop as well with his passive. So you don't need to buy Teardrop with Iggy. So Witch's Shoe, green item. Next, I go into Mathematician's Intro to Architecture. This ability, this item it's a lot of power, 100 power, and it gives you 10 CDR. There's not a whole lot of items in the game that gives you a lot of power and CDR. With these two items with 20 CDR, you're in a perfectly good spot. You're in a sweet spot there. Your ability is going to be low cooldown. As you level up your abilities, they're going to decrease the cooldown as well. So you don't really need to do any more cooldown. This is going to be perfect. But I go to Mathematician's Architecture. Next is going to be your pin, the Alchemy Blaster. Always get this item if you need to get some pin shred. And then of course Rampage Toto. You're going to get that extra power on your abilities. The last item, it's going to vary. So right here, I have a couple of items here. It just really depends on how the game is going, and how the enemy team is. So if the enemy team has a lot of healing, then of course you're going to get Sage's Whip in your kit. If the enemy team is pretty heavy on magical power, then another item it could go to is called Blue Heart. This is pretty solid. It gives you 80 power, 35 magical defense, so a little bit of magical defense. It's going to give you 10 more CDR, so you can get out more abilities. And it's going to grant you a shield that blocks a single attack from an enemy hero. So this is kind of more of a survivable item here if they have a lot of magical power. If they don't have a lot of magical power and they're a little bit more squishier, you can go into Vitality Lens. This is going to be 80 power. It's going to give you 10 flat pin, and then a successful hit on an enemy hero is going to increase the magical pin by 20 after 2 seconds. So this is just going to give you more power on your whole kit. So another situational item that I put in here is Player's ID. 65 magical power, 400 mana is going to give you 10 CDR, so you get a little bit more CDR. You'll be at 30 CDR with this build. But the good thing is it's going to give you a little bit more survivability. It's going to grant you a shield that absorbs damage equal to 25% of max mana when your health drops below 30%. So being that Iggy doesn't have any escape, this is not a bad item to have on you. That way, if you do drop below that 30% health in that situation, more than likely, if you're that low, you're probably fighting in your turrets. Someone's diving you, a team is diving you, you're fighting in your turrets, you're dropping all your abilities on yourself. This is going to help you survive a little bit longer to where either you get the kill on them or you do enough damage to where your team can hopefully get the kill. Those are going to be the items that you're going to get. This is going to be your core build right here, the mid-game set. And these are just 4 situational items that you can slot in before the Alchemy Blaster. Even sometimes actually before, I would say honestly before Mathematicians, because Mathematicians is pretty expensive, but those would go ideally before Mathematicians. But that's going to be the build. Again, I think Iggy's really good. There's mixed feelings about Iggy right now in the community. Some people again think he's overpowered. Other people think he's underwhelming and then needs a buff. I think he's really, really good. Probably the best lane pressure caster in the game. When it comes to late game, you have crazy cooldowns, you have great damage. It's really hard to fight into an Iggy. Honestly, might be the top caster in the game right now, I think, personally. But he's definitely really good. All right, guys, that's going to be it for the video. Let me know in the comment section below how you feel about Iggy. If you're new to the channel, consider subscribing. We are pretty close to getting 1,000 subscribers that can help me push for that partnership for YouTube. So definitely consider subscribing if you're not yet and if you're enjoying these videos. Crunch is coming out in a couple of weeks, so we're going to have Crunch as well. I'm going to play a lot of Crunch and get a guide out for him as well, so make sure you subscribe for that. You guys can catch me live, twitch.tv/Cordy. You can join me on Discord, you can follow me on Twitter. All the links will be in the description below. But everyone take care, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace.